Good morning E39 source, it's Paolo here from the UK. Finally getting around to filming my introduction to my BMW M5. Give you some details about the car. So it's a March of 2000 build, finished off in beautiful Silverstone. As far as I'm aware, apart from Ryan's car, this is the only other Silverstone E39 on the source. So yeah, March of 2000 was the build date. I'm the fourth owner. First owner took it to 50,000, second owner took it from 50 to 95, third owner from 95 to 101, and that's where I inherited the car. And as I say, I've put about 5,000 miles on it in that time, which I know isn't very much, but there's basically reasons why I wanted to make sure the car was cosmetically and mechanically sound before I started putting miles on it. Doing all those little jobs, and I'll go through those one by one with you. As I say, it had to be Silverstone. Was not going to really accept anything else. I guess second choice would have been carbon black and maybe an Avis or Le Mans as a third choice. Not titanium silver though, because that was the colour of my 530, and I got so fed up with that colour. Just really didn't want to have that colour ever again. So we'll go through all the bits and pieces for it, but before I do, let me just tell you the price was £9,000 for this car. I've invested a further 7,000, so I'm basically, no, sorry, I bought it for 9, invested another 8, so I'm £17,000 in with this car now. But really, this car is now finished, apart from the ongoing kind of maintenance and other bits and pieces along the way. So what can I tell you? Paint condition is great. So I've got my notes here that I have to refer to, otherwise I'm only going to forget some stuff to talk about. So yeah, paint condition is fantastic. No rust on the car at all. It's been fully detailed as well. So let's just go through, well, let's start from the rear of the car. We'll go from the rear of the car to the front of the car, and we'll go through what I've done. So firstly, we have LED lights. Toolkit, as you would expect, is fully stocked. One repair I had to do to the car was the trunk harness. This had not just one or two, but sort of several wires, and a couple of them were broken in or fractured in two places. So that was fun trying to solder all those together. Absolute nightmare. Upgrades to the car. Probably did the best thing you could do for an audio setup as far as I'm concerned, which is put in a media bridge. So you can see the media bridge there, and you can see my iPod. Fantastic way of accessing all your songs via your steering wheel controls. So you can access it via your albums, your artists, the songs themselves. Really phenomenal bit of kit. Had to replace the BM54 amplifier here because that had fried itself, and I'll talk about the brief reason why that was later in the video. But yeah, essentially that's the trunk. Upgrades from the back have been, or I replaced it with a new M badge because the actual colours on the old one were beginning to fade. I got these lovely number plates made up. They're metal number plates, and I really like these cool holders as well. These M Sport, M Power number plate holders. The rear bumper has been painted, as there was a few marks on it. I followed Ryan's advice and did the rear diffuser and painted that black. Love the contrast it gives against the Silverstone. Really nice touch. I know it still has the pre-facelift lights, but actually on this colour car I actually like them. I guess if somebody gave me like the newer ones, I'd probably put them in, but to be honest, on this colour car I'm quite happy with the pre-facelifts on these. The car has had a muffler delete. Loving the tips on those. Let me know what you guys think. As for a muffler delete, I think it's the way to go personally. The company I went to did the staggered setup for me as well, and to me personally, I think it's a great way to go. You know, it's cheap. You get to choose your tips you want on the end of the car, on the end of the exhaust. You lose loads of weight from the car, and it just sounds awesome. You know, for me, it's definitely the way to go. I guess the one negative for me was the cold start on this car is quite loud, and the neighbours weren't really too happy for the first couple of minutes when the car started up. So I went to a company called Evolve here in the UK, and they did a cold start delete. So basically they used a software upgrade, and they removed the cold start on the car, so now it just starts up normally, which is phenomenal. But also, one of the great things about getting to this company is they also do a software upgrade on the car as well, so it takes it from, or increases the BHP on the car. They also increase the limiter on the car, so it goes from a 7200 now to 7400 red line. And it also, they take the top speed limiter off the car as well, so now it'll go whatever it goes to, 180 I guess, give or take. What else can we talk about here? Yeah, and actually going to this company called Evolve, the great thing was they actually run it on a dyno. Now I know you can do software upgrades, and you can get people that come out with mobile vans and do the software upgrade for you. But the most gratifying thing for me personally was actually taking it to Evolve. When they do 3 runs on a dyno, I'll try and insert a dyno clip here if I can. The first run they did, or the first 3 runs, the average BHP for the car came in at 394 brake, which is really fantastic. That means it hasn't lost one single brake horsepower. You know, and I've done lots of kind of maintenance that you need to do to these cars, so it's really gratifying to see that the car was still running at its maximum power after 18 years. The software upgrade takes it from 394 to about 413 brake horsepower, and they said, you know, the car's in phenomenal condition. They said it's a really, really strong engine, so that was great to have that kind of verified. And let's just go to the interior of the car, and I'll talk about some of the things that I've done. In fact, let's just focus on the rear wheels here. So essentially the car's had new tyres, which are the Michelin Pilot Sport 4s. The wheels have been reconditioned, new centre caps, new stickers, new M sticker, new lug bolts. They've done a great job, I thought, of that. We'll also talk about the gas cap rust. There is little minor bubbles there that you can see. That's never really got any worse in my ownership of the car. New gas cap as well. The car has had rear wishbones, rear upper control arms, and yeah, I think that's all about we can talk about for the back there. This is going into the interior of the car now. So, what can we talk about? Let's just talk about my my detailing regime. So when I purchased this car, I actually removed everything from the interior. So removed the rear deck, all of the seats came out, the door cards came out, all of the center console trim came out. The rear sun visors came out, and really I just detailed it from the top down. So started with brushing the headliner to loosen any potential dust, and then moving all the way down, and then eventually finishing with shampooing the carpets, and obviously reconditioning all of the leather on the seats, cleaning it, reconditioning it. And it also gives you a great opportunity to kind of get under the seats and clean all that metal work under the seats, because that gets quite dusty and dirty. And then let's just talk about what we've done to the car then. So we replaced the we repaired the rear view mirror because it had the bubble, which is the common fault with these with these mirrors. Excuse me. Also had, so the problem with the BM24 amplifier blowing up was the fact that there was actually a wire that was actually shorting out on a piece of metalwork behind the door card. So that was causing the audio setup to kind of pop and bang, and eventually that popping and banging just sent the amplifier into a bit of a tailspin, and eventually it just blew up. Other things I've done, I've put in the LED interior lights, which is a nice touch. And yeah, let's go into some other little details here. So we've had a 16:9 nav screen in off eBay, fantastic condition. Purchased the buttons from BMW because they're a little bit marked up. We bought the center console trim, which is the common bit which kind of gets a bit marked up there. We've had a new ZHP gear knob, the new center storage tray, new cup holders. The ZHP gear shifter knob, that was I actually did a short shift on this as well, which comes from the E60. Really a great upgrade. Really happy. I guess there's only one, when it gets cold, getting it into second gear can be a bit notchy, but once it warms up, it's phenomenal. Really nice touch. Let's see if there's anything else I've missed. Also put in these aluminium pedals. I tried to get the ones from Bimium, but that proved to be a bit tricky, getting them sent over from the States to the UK. So I went with these Chinese aftermarkets, and I'm really happy with them. I think they look really cool. They're only about £35. So yeah, that was a nice little upgrade. And also put in new kick seals as well. So it's all about the details with me. So these 4 kick seals for the car purchased are about £15 each, and they really tidy up the door. Before I purchased the car, the previous owner bought new. These were split, which is also a common fault. So he actually replaced those gaskets, those door gaskets. And I think actually one more thing. How can I forget? Upgraded steering wheel. So I bought this, another eBay purchase. Amazing condition. Used my technique for bringing up the M stitching. I think the airbag was about £30, so about £180 all in, and it's a really nice upgrade. New side marker lights from BMW. Also repaired the washer, which had a faulty leaking pump. So following Ryan's DIY, that was a nice, relatively straightforward repair job. Go around to the front of the car. Decided to go with the Hella light. I wasn't going to mess around by going with anything other than Hella on these. Very expensive, obviously about £800, but they do make the car look phenomenal. Obviously replaced the bulbs, they come with a yellow bulb, so changed those over for the white LEDs. New fog lights. Obviously loving those number plate holders. Okay, so let's do an engine startup for you guys. See how much noise this thing makes. That sounds phenomenal. Forgot to pop the hood. So that sounds pretty good to me, but let me know your thoughts. I think that sounds awesome. So things that have been done to the car mechanically. So the first thing is diff seals. All the diff seals were replaced. When I first purchased the car actually had it had an error for through an error for a CPS, an exhaust CPS. So as the car's got 100,000 miles on it, I just went ahead and purchased all four CPSs from BMW and got those swapped out. The car's also had pre-cat O2 sensors. I've heard that the post-cat make absolutely no difference, so just went ahead and bought the Bosch pre-cat O2 sensors, got those replaced. The car's also had transmission fluid change, fuel filter. I also did the radiator hoses, the upper and lower radiator hose, along with the lower radiator hose temperature sensor. And at the same time I actually did I did a coolant flush as well, so that was obviously draining it from the engine block as well. The car's had a new BMW fan clutch. I just wanted to kind of change the things that could potentially cause the car to have a catastrophic failure. So things like radiator hoses, fan clutch, those kind of things. The car's had new MAFs. One of the first things I did to the car was actually changed out the alternator and the aircon belts, because they were looking a little bit cracked in places. The car's had new spark plugs. Spark plugs were done at 102, 624 miles. Also had an oil change. Swapped out the plenum bolts because they were a little bit rusty. So I blame Ryan for that, for passing on his OCD to me. The car's had new windscreen wipers. It's had new airbox clips. New air filter clips there. It's also had these new all filter housing bolts. So I bought those. It needed both of those. So I bought them from BMW about a year apart from each other. I couldn't bear the thought of giving BMW £17 for one small bolt. Outrageous. Also had the K&N Performance air filters put on the car, and the car's had a power steering fluid change, and obviously the power steering gasket as well. So really guys, that's about it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, but essentially that's it. This car is never going to be a daily driver for me. It's going to be a weekends and evenings car. My daily commute is 40 miles on a motorway and stop-start traffic. So really, I want to enjoy this car, and that's not a particularly enjoyable journey. So I will be putting some more miles on it though, now that everything's been done on the car. So that's it. But let me know your thoughts and opinions, and in the meantime, I'll sign off. So thanks Ryan, and thanks E39 Source, and that's it. Thanks guys. Bye.